The latest title from Harvest Moon creator Yasuhiro Wada, Little Dragons Café, similarly tries to turn life's daily routines into a relaxing getaway. As you gather ingredients, cook, and wait tables, you're also in charge of raising a dragon. However, the cozy vibes have to do a lot of heavy lifting to carry a game that's far too rough, shallow, and drawn out. The story follows a pair of siblings who suddenly find themselves running their mother's cafe after she falls mysteriously ill. An old man arrives with a dragon egg, claiming that once it grows up, it'll help cure their mother. After introducing a trio of characters that cook and wait tables, the story then shifts to focus on a series of guests who decide to stay at the cafe. There's a child warrior, a witch who lost her magic, a lively ghost, and a number of other unusual characters. Despite the different situations and personalities, each chapter essentially feels the same. A character is looking for a place to hide or escape their problems. You learn about their past until they reminisce about a specific meal. Then you put together a recipe to recreate that meal so they can remember the good times and move on with their lives. It's disappointing that each character arc follows the same formula and never involves any of the game's other activities like fishing, riding the dragon, or even meeting up somewhere to watch a sunset. As you get accustomed to watching the cycle repeat with only one scene per in-game day, it feels more and more like the game is dragging its feet, particularly in the final act. As you might expect, much of what you do revolves around cooking. You search for recipes, gather ingredients, cook meals, and wait tables. Inside the cafe, the staff can generally take care of orders, but you can pitch in to help ease the workload, as you'll need to periodically prod the staff when they get lazy. As the cafe's reputation grows, simply keeping up with the influx of customers can easily whittle the day away. You don't cook directly for customers, but craft the menu for your chef based on recipes you gather from the world and other characters. Putting a dish together involves choosing a set of ingredients, and different recipes vary in how strict they are with their requirements. One may need a very particular cut of meat, but will then allow you to throw in whatever type of vegetables and spices you want. The rarity and quality of your ingredients influence the popularity of a dish, and as you get better ingredients, you can go back to old recipes to improve them. Cooking itself is accomplished through a brief rhythm game, which also determines a dish's quality. Meals with more ingredients add more button prompts to the song, and missing even one will keep you from getting a supreme rating. There are only a handful of different songs, so doing this over and over for hundreds of different recipes can get a little old after a while. You'll also need dishes to feed your dragon, and different meals alter its skin color over time. However, rather than just ordering dishes you've already developed from the menu, you have to cook them all one by one, even if that means repeating the same minigame 4 or 5 times in a row. Cooking anything requires ingredients, and this is the primary reason to leave the cafe. Bushes, trees, fishing spots, and more all hold a bounty of ingredients. Gathering these things comes with a range of problems, though. While there are hundreds of different foods to cook with, there are only a few variation of objects that serve as resource points. A brown rock in one location might have rice, while an identical rock somewhere else will yield salt and sugar, and others might yield ketchup, mustard, or chocolate sauce. There's also a frustrating randomness to it all. One day, a bush might yield 2 carrots, a cabbage, and an onion. The next, it might only give you 3 cabbages. However, that bush will never give you mushrooms, tomatoes, or corn. You have to figure out which spots grow which items and eventually memorize where to get that across the island. So far, we've only found 1 point in the whole game to get pepper. Perhaps one of the most frustrating parts about this is that you'll travel great distances to reach certain ingredients, only to get an alert that the staff in the cafe is slacking. You can quickly fast travel back to the cafe, but there's no quick way to get anywhere else. You have to choose whether to stop what you're doing just to tell people to get back to work, or ignore it and let the customers be grumpy for the day. In order to aid you with this process, there's a garden and a fishery by the cafe that are regularly restocked. Every time you find a new ingredient, it starts growing in the garden, but these harvests are random as well, so you may only get a handful of the things you really need, and there's no way to decide what to grow to accommodate what you want to serve. Part of this randomness helps encourage you to vary your menu. You can only have 10 items on the menu at a time, and if a couple dishes are popular, you can quickly start to run low on common ingredients like flour. You can scramble to all the places you know where to find an ingredient, but it may be better to simply swap out those dishes on your menu for something you have in more abundance, like fish or eggs. The range that you can explore is entirely limited by story progress and the age of your dragon. At first, you have to stay very close to the cafe, but as the dragon grows, you can search farther into the world. Unfortunately, these changes don't come quick, which leaves you to retread the same ground day after day. Once your dragon is big enough to fly, a vast amount of space opens up across the island. You can scale cliffs and venture out to other islands, but before long, even this becomes well-worn territory. The mundane tasks of resource gathering and managing your cafe are to be expected, but what ultimately hinders them is the lack of any form of growth or progression aside from the dragon itself. One clear example comes with gathering eggs. There are different varieties of egg birds found throughout the island, and when you catch them, they'll live outside the cafe and lay eggs each morning. However, after a few days, they'll go back into the wild, so you have to regularly recapture them, which gets old fast. It should be simple to build a pen to keep them from running off, but no such expansions or upgrades exist. Other elements throughout the game would benefit from tools to make them more efficient and provide additional goals, but instead, you're stuck doing the same things in the same locations for most of the game. Other big limitations come with the overall polish of the game. Severe pop-in keeps you from seeing items from a distance, frequent load screens, basic control issues, and slow animations often make simple tasks take longer than they should. Using the dragon to hunt can be sluggish, food can get stuck on walls out of reach, and a bug can occasionally prevent you from getting off the dragon, which can be a pain when you're trying to get far off ingredients. Despite the piles of issues and annoyances, Little Dragons Café isn't an unpleasant game. The overall art direction, character design, and music all present a storybook charm that pulls you in early and keeps it enjoyable in the midst of the grind. More than anything, the simple gameplay just gets stretched thin over the 40-hour story. While we don't often focus on cost, the full $60 price tag also seems particularly difficult to justify. With a stronger investment and more developed gameplay, a sequel may still have potential. But as it is, Little Dragons Café could have used a bit more time in the oven. Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to help us make more. For just $1 a month, you can gain access to weekly updates, spoiler discussions, and exclusive shows.